Live. Hello, everyone's Raymond 360. This is Tom Caltabiano. We're telling our followers that we are live. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Good to see all these familiar names. I'm glad you all enjoyed last week's visit with Phil Rosenthal, which was fun. Hello, Gil. Let me plug in my mic. And let's see. That should sound okay. Hello from South Jersey. Hello. So a lot of people, hello Sandra in New Jersey. I noticed, when Phil joins, Phil Rosenthal, hello in the Midwest, Phil brings a lot of his followers, and a lot of people are tuning in going, hey, who's this guy that our hero Phil is talking to? So for those of you that are joining for the first time, this is Tom Caltabiano. I was a writer on Everyone's Raymond for all 9 years. I took 30,000 behind-the-scene photos. We published a book called Everybody Loves Raymond, Our Family Album. So that will be backwards to you. In that book, of my 30,000 photos, there are only about 300 or so photos. So that means I have a little over 29,000 photos to share from behind the scenes on Everybody Loves Raymond. Plus, and I posted one of those pictures, I have every script from every episode from the props department and from the wardrobe department, and each of those scripts have Polaroid photos stapled onto the inside of them. So today I try and alternate guest and no guest, and I'm able to answer a lot of questions. So let me scroll back. Let's go back here. Yes, hello. How is everybody doing, by the way? Los Angeles is starting to potentially tighten up their restrictions. And I'm hoping England is completely wide open. Yes, Phil's visit last week. If you have any questions about Phil's visit last week, hello, Hawk. I can't tell what flag that is because of it's so small. Let's see. Hello, Roger in Nashville. Welcome. Yes, Karen Cooney. Another book, please. Yeah. Potentially, but you see the magnitude of, a book is such a big undertaking, and they're only able to publish, a few hundred photos. So the benefit of Instagram and all of these is that we can share a lot of photos. I don't even know how many photos I've shared. You guys can probably look it up while I am on. Hello, yes. Hello, London, yes. Lots of rain in Toronto. We would love to have some rain in Los Angeles. It rains here. Just to give an example, we had a little sprinkle the other day, but I think in 2020 it rained in May, and then a little bit maybe in July. When I say a little bit, like the ground gets wet, and then again in November. So that's, it's definitely not London weather. Okay. Was it hard writing ELR? How do you feel the writing consistent for the 9 years of the show? How do you feel the writing remained consistent? I'll fill in a word for you. Yeah, it remained consistent because of Phil and Ray were both the consistent voices of the show. Phil, obviously the head writer. And so that's one of the problems that happens, and I've touched upon this in the past. A lot of times a hit show will become a hit show, and then what happens in Hollywood is the head writer can get an offer from another company, from Disney, for example, which happened to Phil. Next time Phil is on, we will talk about that. But he, in season 2, the company that was paying Phil, that produced Raymond, was not paying him a lot of money. So his agent said, I'm going to see if there's any offers. And Phil got an insane offer from Disney. And then Phil decided, I'd rather stay on the show than try and create another show. Because what happens in Hollywood is the moment you create a show, the networks are like, let's try and poach him and get him to create a hit show for our network. But as you guys know, because you watch TV, it's very, very hard to create a hit show. Friends, Seinfeld, they come along once every blue moon. So it's a very, very tough thing. So to create. So the consistency of the writing is because Phil was there for the entire time, and Ray, obviously, as the star, but also in the writer's room, was there all the time. So was it hard? Okay, great. Hello, DW. Can you remind me if the car was really driven by Doris when it crashed through the house? Okay, so that was the wallpaper episode number 100. And so was Doris in the driver's seat when it went through the house? Yes. The car was pulled by a rope which was attached to a pulley that was underneath the coffee table. And so you can't operate a car, inside of a soundstage is the bottom line. So there's a lot of safety restrictions. This is a minor one, but they disconnect the battery to the car. There's no way you're going to be able to start up a car because of carbon monoxide and fire codes, etc. So she was, though, in the car. Peter and Doris were in the car when it crashed through the wall. Ray and Patty were standing on the staircase. They had been on the couch. And somebody brought up a great point. Remind me who it was. Why wasn't Deborah saying, the children, you could have killed the children? That would have been a very big thing that I think most mothers would be yelling about primarily. Great. These are great questions already. Hello, Heidi Bloom 19. Where's the 19 from? Can you explain who can submit episodes for Emmys? Can every actor do it? Also, are all the actors considered main leads, or is it just Ray and Patty? So, so the main character, the lead character, is it's Ray and Patty. Now, I don't know how they delineate that, but clearly supporting cast. Brad Garrett is supporting cast. Peter Boyle is supporting cast. One of the reasons Peter Boyle didn't win an Emmy for Everest Raymond is Brad kept winning. He was in the same category. So a lot of times, it's tough if you have if you're on the bubble, as we say, about who gets more lines in the show. But usually it's pretty clear who is the lead of the show, etc. And then anybody, as far as I know, if you're a guest star, you can submit for an Emmy. If you're, and there's you'll see that a lot, where a really high-end celebrity, for example, Tim Conway, won. For those of you who don't know Tim Conway, he's an actor who goes way back to a show called McHale's Navy, and then on the Carol Burnett Show. But I was working on the Emmys one year, writing on the Emmys, and he won for best, guest actor or something like that. And a lot of times you do have these really big names who guest in an episode, and then they win an Emmy that way. For example, I think Rita Moreno won her Emmy on Sesame Street initially, even though her agent was against it. So okay, let me scroll back. Sometimes I go ahead, and I might have missed one. Wow, 4 inches of rain a week ago. Send it our way. Let's see this. Glad that Bob Odenkirk is doing better. Yes, he was hilarious on the show. Yes. Forgot to visit his book, You're Lucky You're Funny. He said he quit the show because he was not running the show. Wanted to ask how long he would hold out. Yeah, so Phil has talked about it a lot. He ultimately did the right move, and the same thing happened to Larry David. Now, Larry David didn't, quote-unquote, quit the show. Larry David was not allowed to be the showrunner of Seinfeld for, I think, the first 4 to 6 episodes. So if you ever watched Larry David talking about Seinfeld pilot, he hates watching it because he wasn't in control. And it's not an uncommon thing. It's not that they didn't believe in Phil specifically. It's just that the network is betting millions of dollars on a show. And so one of the most important aspects is, can the show be delivered on time? Because a lot of times the showrunner, and next time we have Tucker on or Cindy Shupak on, it's a crazy amount of responsibility. So the network knows this, and they've seen people not deliver. So the reason they didn't want Phil to, run the show or be the head writer is they were like, well, let's at least have somebody that's run a show before. And you can't blame them. All right. So, yes, Leo, I hope that how long would he have held out? I don't know. Yes, we will ask Phil that. But it worked because the network, also, Everett Raymond they weren't betting on it to be a hit. So it was one of the last shows that was picked up that year. What is my favorite episode of the favorite season of the show? That's a tough one because we have so many good seasons. I would say, we started to hit our stride by season 3, so season 3, 4, 5, but there was never, I think because the writing stayed so consistent and then you got to know the characters more, so the performances went extremely well. So yes, Jumping the Shark. For those of you who don't know, so the statement, let me see if I can go back to that already, but did the show ever jump the shark? Okay, so that's a term. Heidi, yes, ELR never jumped the shark, though. Agreed? Question mark. Is that to me? So for those of you who don't know, Happy Days was a giant hit in the 70s, and Jaws, the movie Jaws came out, and it was a big summer blockbuster. The network tried to boost ratings by having a shark, and I don't know that the network ordered that or what the idea was, but in one of the episodes, Fonzie, Henry Winkler, actually jumps a shark while he's water skiing. And so that became a catchphrase now if the show is no longer good or does something for stunt, etc. But I think we can all agree that Everybody Loves Raymond stayed pretty true from beginning to end, and some of the episodes in season 9, the last season, are as strong as any season at any point. And I think a lot of shows you see that wasn't the case. A lot of really good shows, unfortunately, ran a little bit too long, and they kind of ran out of steam. But I think some of our best episodes were the last season. We've talked about why the show ended, but there were a lot of factors. Phil and Ray had initially thought about ending it in season 8, but then decided to do another season. Peter Boyle's health was really declining. We all saw it, and he's a very pivotal part of the show, so that was a factor. So, let's see. She gave the news she was having twins. So yes, let's see. Hello, New Hampshire. Okay. Tom, what was the point you thought, without seeing the ratings, we've got this? Tom, what was the point that you thought we've got this? Okay. At what point in the series, when you say we got this, the show so Ray and I were sharing an apartment the first season, and we watched a show called Standard Deviation. We watched what's known as a rough cut. You get a cut of the I think it's the director's cut or the editor's cut, and you get it back then on a VHS tape. So we watched it, and Standard Deviation is with the IQ test. And Ray specifically was like, I really feel like the show is starting to click. Now, is that the best episode? No. But it's a really good episode, and you see the personalities, and it goes back and forth. But it doesn't exist in a bubble. So even if the show has to get ratings. So there was, as far as from a writing standpoint, I think Phil, if you look at the pilot is great. So, they got this aspect as far as the writing. I mean, Phil nailed it in the pilot. But I will say, so that, like, Standard Deviation, and then the shows, continually got better. But we didn't know the show was not, as a matter of fact, the picture I posted, which I will reveal the episode, it's a hard one to guess. I looked at it, I said, there's no way I would guess this episode. that was early in the series. So let me see. Once Amy and her family we just went to strength. It just went from strength. Great. Karen, I'll read these because, as you know, for those of you who watch, you can always go back and watch these, but the comments disappear. I love all the episodes from start to finish, and I think it just got funnier and funnier as the years went on. Once Amy and her family appeared, it just went from strength to strength, I think. I would agree, and we can talk to Phil about this. Phil was very adamant about getting Robert married, and Ray and I were not adamant about getting Robert married. We just thought, okay, there's a lot of single dating stories that we could have Robert doing, because now, at that point, before Robert got married, we're like, okay, we're exploring the married life, and it's going to be more exploration of the married life, so why just have another married couple? So Phil, who had been married forever, was like, I don't think it's that interesting, and I think we'll get a lot more stories. Now, Phil and Ray have the final say, but Ray and I were just chiming in, like, let's let Robert be single for a longer time. And so the introduction, all that story, all that stuff with the parents and him asking permission, that all came about because Robert was getting married. Yes, Robert's smoking episode, hilarious. So, yes, Robert smoking with Pat smoking. Yes, great episode. Was Brad actually a Met? This is from 1950. Was Brad actually a Met and Art Shamsky fan? I don't believe so. So I'm going to say that Brad is not a big sports fan. He grew up out in Los Angeles here. So I think Phil was more a Mets fan, and I was a Mets fan. Ray was a New York sports team fan, let's say, but leaned more towards Yankees. Let me see. How did they do it when Frank fell through the stairs? Yeah, Frank fell. Peter Boyle fell onto a cushion. He did his own stunt. I will find out exactly, but he fell through. He fell through the stairs, and then we had that puff of smoke. But I think he fell onto what was the equivalent of a few mattresses, only in professional stunt terms, more than just that. Was there any rivalry when it came to handing out Emmys? Karen, was there any rivalry? I'm not sure exactly what you mean between the actors. I mean, I'm sure Brad wanted to win as much as Peter wanted to win, etc. And there were a few years when Patty was the first one to get nominated for an Emmy, because we never got nominated for an Emmy, especially in the beginning, and we thought, well, the show, we knew we were doing good episodes, but okay, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, ATAS, doesn't believe so. I think now they might just call it the Television Academy. But so season 1, no Emmy nominations. Season 2, no Emmy nominations. Season 3, I believe, was the first one. Someone can look that up and would know better than me, but I know the internal feeling was we will probably never get nominated for an Emmy. So, yeah, was there a rivalry? I'm sure the normal thing. 4 episodes that come from someone's right. Can you share a story that didn't happen you wish would have? Okay, sorry, I have to, so in case somebody writes something scandalous, I don't want to read it out loud. I have a burning question. It has always been said by Phil that the ideas for episodes came from someone in the writer's room's experience. Can you share a story that didn't happen that you wish would have? So is your question, this happened in real life, but we decided not to do the episode? Let me know if that's what you're thinking, because we pretty much exhausted every episode idea. So the last season we did 16 episodes. For us as the writer, for the crew, if we did 17 episodes, you get another week's paycheck. I know that sounds simple, but everybody wanted to do another episode. We all wanted to do more time because everybody knew they were going to lose their job at the end of 16. So all of the episode, we explored as many episodes. So there was not a killer episode up on the white erase board that someone said, this is the greatest episode, Phil. Please, please do that. That didn't happen. Right. Wardrobe Polaroids. Yes, Karen. I will be sharing the script that is from in a few minutes, and I think I will be doing that every single time I don't have a guest. Give me a thumbs up. Give me some hearts. If that sounds like a good idea, I will page through and show you the photos. Let's see for the CS episode where Frank uses inside info. Yeah, you bet is that episode. Okay. The slippery turkey episode. How was it kept safe for Patty not to slip? It wasn't kept. No, Patty was at risk of slipping, and that. So the turkey drop was planned, but Patty executed it perfectly, and you see a little slip in there. That was her slipping for real. So there is a very good chance that she would have fallen on her backside during that filming. So, yes, you watched. Hello, you're packing and watching. Great. It's your reward for packing. Great. Hi, Tom. I recently watched on YouTube video of Ray's and Frank and Marie actual house from the show. I would really like to know, is that true and the authentic location? Sorry, my English is bad. Hello, Sanjin _G. Where are you from that your English is bad? Because I understood it. So I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm going to assume that there's not a lot of people putting up fake pictures of the background. Okay, so if you're talking about the two houses that are in Long Island that are across the street from each other, I don't remember the town. Is it Melville or something? Somebody will know that. So those houses are found by a location scout. So Ray, Phil, Lisa Helfrich, who was the line producer, nobody had ever been to that house. I'm sure, and we'll ask Phil next time, he was shown some video of houses. What do you think about this house? What do you think about that house? And that one was chosen. So, and if you guys look it up on YouTube, you'll see there's the house. And it has to be very weird if you're a Raymond fan to be living in that house and then look across the street, and there's Frank and Marie's house. So, yeah, that is, if it's one that I'm thinking of, it is the actual house from the episode. Now, of course, if you guys watch the Brady Bunch, the exterior of the Brady Bunch house is in Studio City, Los Angeles. And the exterior they shot, and it has nothing to do with the inside of the house. But if you look it up, I think Home and Garden bought it, and they remodeled it to make it look like the TV set, which is a huge undertaking. So if you saw the inside of that house that's in Long Island, I guarantee you it has nothing to do with the TV set. And if you watch the pilot of Everett Rose Raymond, you'll notice that the set is a little bit different than it ended up being in the series. All right. Hello, Bobby. What were the favorite treats, eats in the writer's room? So we had a period when Phil got really healthy. So before Phil got healthy, we had a lot of cookies, Oreo cookies, I would say. But Blue Diamond smoked almonds were a big one. Those were very popular. And what would happen is people would binge on stuff, and you know, when you're writing, you're usually eating. But there was no, there weren't that many snacks. So there weren't a bucket of that. You had to go to the kitchen generally to eat, and you could bring some stuff back. But there wasn't. There wasn't wrapped goods inside the writer's room. And you looked for any excuse to get up and stretch your legs also, but within reason, you know. You loved... Hello, Karen. I loved Happy Days, and I was taken to see Jaws at the cinema at the age of 13. Gave me nightmares for years. Yes, I can only imagine I can only imagine. Okay, great. Let's see. Barbara, in Long Island, you live close to the exterior houses that were used. Great. Barbara, send me a picture if you drive by them again. All right, scrolling through. In the episode Fascinating Deborah, was the character Dr. Nora to resemble the real Dr. Laura? And if so, was the episode real, and who did it happen to? So, great question, Leo. I don't know if Dr. Laura was big yet then. She might have been, but I do know that when that script went out, Dr. Joyce Brothers, who, if you're younger, you won't know who that is, she, I believe, contacted Phil to be cast. So I don't know who wrote that episode, Leo, because I don't remember who wrote that episode, but I don't remember that was, I think it was just that she was so normal, that Deborah was so normal. That's where that angle came from. So I don't think that came from a real life experience, but I could be wrong. Yes, hello. True, when Frank and Marie went to retirement homes, so funny. Okay, in the cult episode, Robert makes a dig about Ray not being that great of an actor. Was that because Ray lost that year? Yeah, I think that was just Robert liked to make fun, and that was the perfect moment to make fun of him. You see, okay, Jaws, yes. If you ever go to Martha's Vineyard, by the way, you can see that Jaws, you can see that bridge, and actually, here's a little trivia for you guys. The movie Jaws was written. So the book was by Peter Benchley, but the adaptation was done by Carl Gottlieb. Carl Gottlieb was a very good friend of Peter Boyle's. So when we were putting together a video for Peter Boyle's benefit, Carl Gottlieb came to my house where I have an edit bay, and we sat and edited the highlight reel of for Peter's service. And Carl Gottlieb wrote a book about the writing of Jaws. And if you watch Jaws, you'll see when there's a scene where they're going on this little ferry which goes to Chappaquiddick Island, which you may know from other incidents. And on that ferry is Carl Gottlieb playing an actor who also wrote the movie. Let's see. I've heard talk about Robert's character changing from the way he comes across at the beginning. Can you speak to this a little bit? Yes, Tina. I think Ray's brother, I know Ray was very protective of Robert's character. And so, this is a very funny reason, but Ray's mother would get mad at Ray and call Ray about how he was portrayed. And Ray would portray. So Ray, would say to his mother, "It's a show, Mom. It's a comedy show. It's not his autobiography." But I think it took a while to get that character to be fleshed out. And at the beginning, I just think when you're in the writer's room and you're writing a script, very often you'll say, "Okay, I'm looking through these pages, and Robert hasn't said anything in 2 pages," and so you lose track sometimes of the ancillary characters. So I just think at the beginning. Like any show, though, Patty, Deborah's character got fleshed out more. Ray's character was obviously the most developed, but it still got fleshed out more. And so I think it was over time. It's the natural course, and I think on a lot of sitcoms, you'll see that. You'll see the character. Now, character didn't change that much, but I want to say Parks and Recreation, and the one time the character was this way. I think at the beginning they were really finding their legs. So I saw these complete reversals in the character. I was like, oh, that's a lot of change going in the writer's room. But excellent question, Tina. Yes. So there's the normal change, and then there's a little bit of Ray protecting his brother's reputation. I would say that's it. And then Brad also. Brad is very public about it, but he went from this very heavy. I shouldn't say very heavy, but heavier guy that was funny, and then he, as he recounts in his book, stopped drinking, and so he came in the beginning of season 2. he walked in the writer's room, and we were shocked because he was this lean guy, and Phil was worried, like, is it still going to be funny? Because lean, in shape people are not as funny as people who like pie. Great question. I'm scrolling through here. Barbara, you are a Yankees fan? Okay. I can only root for the Yankees if they're playing Boston. Did all the actors get along outside of filming? And once again, this is Tom Caltabiano. I was a writer on Everest Raymond for all 9 seasons, and I knew Ray before Everest Raymond. I see Phil and Ray very often, and most of the people on the show, I stay in touch. So, yeah, they all got along really well. They really, really got along well. Patty was having kids, so she had 2 kids during the series, so she was kind of swamped with having 4 kids. Ray also had a son during the filming of the series, but everybody got along. At Christmas time, we all went to Doris's house for a Christmas party. There were tons of food functions and all this stuff that we would go to. So, and the tone was really set by Phil and Ray. Do you? Yes. I do. I see a lot of clips of Everest Raymond, and when I'm preparing to do this, if I want, I will watch that episode on Amazon. Frank's admission of getting hit as a kid was pretty amazing. Was it a purposeful thing to develop the character with more background info, or was it just more of an organic process? So yeah, there's a lot of psychology you'll see in the show, and so I think what you'll find is there's a deeper exploration, and one thing that Phil liked to do is, like, in Good Girls, there's like a left turn in the episode. So a lot of times the episodes started out one way and then delved into something much deeper than you thought it was about. And so that fact was a very good psychological fact that was introduced to try and find out why is Frank the way he is. So had a family, a spinoff. Yes. Yeah, we would love to have a spinoff. It would be great. So just so you know, there's Phil had mentioned, if you read the press at all recently, that there could be a Raymond reunion, but he doesn't know now. And last week we were talking about it. He said he's not sure. So it's unknown, but the network, with Everest Raymond, it's a complicated thing because CBS doesn't own the show, HBO owns the show, and then Peacock TV has the show. And so it's a weird, there's not like a direct tie. So HBO Max, for example, stepped up for the Friends reunion, and so it could be a Peacock TV thing to try and draw its attention. Yeah, and Phil, getting back to the spinoff, Phil tried to do a spinoff right after Raymond with Amy and Robert, but CBS was no longer interested, which I know it's hard to believe, but let's see, Georgia Engel, yes. Scrolling through, great questions again, almost timed. Let's see, Frank's admission, great. You and your husband's favorite episode is The Plan. We've seen it 100 times and are still howling. What's that based on? Yeah, Hank and Pat. Now, Hank and Pat that was from The Plan. So is that how you came up with that moniker for Instagram? I don't know if the idea was to screw it up, for Ray to screw it up. That I don't think happened in real life in any way. It was just like, how does Robert get his comeuppance in the worst way possible? Tom, with most writers and family filmed in some episodes, including you, why was Phil not in any episodes? Yeah, so Phil says this as a joke. He says, because I wanted the show to be good. I don't know why Phil didn't. I mean, there were a lot of people that weren't in the episode. Phil's parents, Ray's father at least. But I don't know, because Phil also had to, Phil had a crazy amount of responsibility during the show. So even to put himself into one scene is my guess, because if you watch, we're going to talk to writer Lou Schneider. And Lou was in a show called Down the Shore that Phil worked on. And Lou was a cast member. Lou's a very funny comedian. And I think Phil is in a couple of those episodes, or one or two of those episodes. But excellent question, Leo. Ask it when Phil is on again. Remember to bring that up. But I know that's the comedic answer that Phil will give, is that he wanted the show to be good. True story. My Sicilian mom didn't understand the show, but would watch it religiously, and she would say, that daughter-in-law is not nice. Yes. Well, I think, the beauty of Everest Raymond is depending where you are in your life. So I think people find the Marie character, Doris, extremely annoying and intrusive. Until you have your own child or your own children, then you start to understand where Marie is coming from. Donnell, was the picture of Patty you posted from the anniversary episode, season 2? It was not. It was not, but that's a great guess. I'm telling you, now there is a danger, there is a chance that it got cut, that outfit got cut from the final airing, in which case that's I don't know if I apologize for that, but when I hold it up in a few minutes, I'll hold up the script and we'll page through it. It's very exciting because a lot of these photos I have never seen. You mentioned some of Patty's children's pictures were on the fridge. Were there any other person's items or pictures used on the set? There were lots of kids' pictures. Yes. Oh, that's a great, Karen. So I just found some pictures of close-ups that I took of pictures on the set. So remind me to post them. I also owe you photos of Ricky's room, the softball team, all that stuff. Yes, Teresa, the Brady house, which if you're ever in Los Angeles, you can drive by it, and it's very cool because that looks like it is the Brady house. Seems like the smaller house would fit. Marie and Deborah could have had taste if the brick colonial. Talking about the house. Was there any pushback from the cast at the end of the season 9 not to end the series, to be continued to a season 10? That is a great question. So pushback, this could be a long answer. So this is my Johnny Carson mug given to me by Tony DeSena. So I don't think any of the actors wanted the show to end. As I said, Peter was in failing health, and we didn't know what was wrong with him until after the show ended. And even then, Ray and I and John Manfrotati visited Peter in his apartment in Manhattan. And that was the first time we saw him really looking bad. And then we found out that he had multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. So other than Peter not being in good health, what I said before applies to the writers only much more, to the actors only much more. They're losing their paycheck. And for every episode that you film, they have residuals that they are going to get. So not only are they going to get paid X number of dollars per episode, the first time it re-airs in a rerun on network TV, they generally get approximately half of what they got the first time. So for every episode that we didn't shoot, they lost a lot of money or didn't earn a lot of money. Now, you can also say there's a little bit of gratitude that we even did the show for 9 years, etc. But yeah, I don't think any of the 130 people wanted to end the show because everyone was unemployed the moment the show ended. How did the cast mark or celebrate the end of a season? So Jane, is it Jana? Jana, hard to say. Jana, 1913. At the end of every season, we would have a rap party, a big rap party. And we would do a gag reel, and we would have food. And the first rap party was on stage at Hollywood Center Studios, now called Sunset Las Palmas, home of I Love Lucy. The first 2 or 3 seasons, I Love Lucy was at that lot, like one stage over from where we were. So the end of season 1, the show wasn't a hit, so we had like sandwiches, and I don't even know if there was beer or any refreshments. I'm sure there was some soda on stage. And then eventually the show, as it became a hit, the parties, the end of season rap parties became bigger and bigger. And for the finale, for the season finale, and I'll do a whole episode about that, because Patty lost her voice and we had to delay the finale, we had a giant party because they couldn't to cancel the party, they would lose tons of money. So we had a giant party and then went back to work the next day. And then we had another giant party on stage for the finale. And then we had another giant party that CBS put together where they reassembled the set and they wanted to do it for press closer to May 16th when the final episode aired. I noticed a lot of Krispy Kreme bags in almost every episode of maybe season 4. Did you get a deal to promote certain things, and were they really favorites of Ray? So Krispy Kreme came about, I'm going to say season 4. I don't think they got a deal. I think all of a sudden they were in the writer's room. I remember in our kitchen, but I don't think there was a deal. But a great question that I'll ask Lisa Helfrich next time she is on. Hello, yes, Dr. Laura was there in the 1990s. Okay, great. So then my guess is it probably would have been. There were a lot of TV and radio psychiatrists, psychologists here where Ray tried to stand up at an open mic night. Heidi Bloom 19. Great question. Ever consider an episode where Ray tried to stand up at an open mic night? So, Phil, when he was writing the show, he had to figure out a profession for Ray. And Seinfeld was already a giant hit, already a comedian. So that's why he went away from doing stand-up. So it would have been an interesting, and I think thing, and I don't think it was as there was a huge comedy boom. So in the old days, I'll say, if you met a stand-up comedian, it was pretty rare. Now it feels like now it feels like there's college courses in it. Who came up with the opening credits, the conveyor belt? That was Phil Rosenthal's idea. If I get a chance, next time I go to his house, he has the sketch of that idea that came to him. And I just talked to him about it not that long ago. Kevin James was Kevin, then ended up being Doug Heffernan. Great questions. Hi, Tom. Mary from Melbourne, late again. Hello, Mary. But you're never late because you can just watch it again. What was the inspiration? And Australia, Mary, is there a big audience in Australia? I would think so. What was the inspiration for Season 8, Episode 11? Deborah at the Lodge. Also, were there any family members of the cast and crew? It was so funny and so well written and acted. Deborah at the Lodge. Who wrote that episode? Because Ray's father's in it. Phil's father's in it. I don't think there's any other family members in it. Hello, Donnell. Very funny. You love pie and you're hilarious. Can you please tell that can you tell Ray and Phil that they almost sealed the deal? Me too. Okay, great. Great. All these great comments. I really appreciate it. Where was the street in Italy where Ray bought the pizza? I will find that out for you. Can you share a personal story that eventually inspired an episode? Yes, I have shared a few. So the ones that were directly from me were the Young Girl episode, which we talked about with Aaron Shore, who co-wrote it with me. That was where I brought a young girl to an event. It's a very good, if you go back and look for Aaron Shore as a guest, I think it was the last episode. Then there was... let me think. There's a few. The traffic cop Timmy with the ventriloquist dummy. So I would bring a ventriloquist dummy into the writer's room, and that kind of inspired one. Then when Ray and I were sharing an apartment together the first season, there were girls in the hot tubs, which was outside our window. It's called the Hillcrest Apartments. Peter Boyle lived above us. And so that kind of inspired a little bit of that because Ray's wife had said to me, do not bring any girls home, etc. So, and boy, let me think. Oh, Jazz Records is directly from my life. I forgot that one. Hello, Barbara. Yes, you can send me, I think, those pictures on a direct message. on Instagram. John Ritter was filming a Simba at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank from 2002 until. Did you guys ever consider having him on as a guest star? Oh, John Ritter from Three's Company was filming 8 Simple Rules at the Walt Disney Studios lot in Burbank. Yeah, I don't. So the answer is I don't know. I would highly doubt it because we had so few outside cast members, and even though Disney Studios is around the corner from Warner Brothers Studios, it would be more who do we have, who fits in with the show, and also he was really talented, but he was also so well known that I don't know. There becomes something called stunt casting where you bring a big celebrity in, and sometimes it hurts the feel of the episode if that's, it's a fine line. So, but I'll find out. I'll find out when I talk to Lisa Miller-Katz also. I watched a sitcom recently where the father sold his portion of the family pot and the wife finds out. Did you ever get mad when other shows live from ELR? It really angers you. I'll clean it up. Ideas. I will tell you this. One of the writers came up with an idea for the model episode where eventually you'll see it where Robert's posing and there's a fan, and great, a hysterical episode. And then Ray and I remember we were doing a stand-up comedy tour, and we got back to the hotel, and turned the TV on, and there's a Seinfeld episode where George is having his picture taken, I think, by Kramer, and there's a fan on, and I mean, it looks identical to what we did. And so I don't think the writer thought that. So I think there's certain ideas that, you see that with stand-up comedians. They circle the same ideas if you're sitting there thinking all the time. So yes, not really. So no, it doesn't anger me because I always assume that it came up independent of what we did. All right, let me scroll past because I'm going to run it. Wow, I'm going to have to go quickly. I'm going to go down to here. Great questions. Wow, here we go. I'm going to miss some questions, so sorry. Ask it again if I haven't gotten through. Personal story, great. You need to start a petition. Wholesome Timeless Show. Great, John Ritter. Sorry, everybody, as I scroll through all these great questions. Karen, it's your birthday on Friday the 6th. I'd like to make it. Happy birthday, Karen. Yes, as I scroll through. Happy birthday. So check out Phil's documentary, Exporting Raymond. Thank you for that mention. That is a great documentary. I've mentioned it a few times, and it's really great. And if you see the movie poster, it's Phil holding a TV. And I took that picture of Phil. He's actually holding a cardboard box in his garage, and then they put the other thing in post. Heidi, you asked Patty about the episode with curler in her hair, and she said it hurt a little. I guess she suffered for her art. Yeah, Ralph Abelos told me that he sewed it in with a piece of thread. Tom from Leo, would you ever consider auctioning off some of those ELR scripts? I don't know. I do. I probably have scripts, not the ones with the photos in them, but I do have some scripts. Would you ever consider, sorry, now I'm getting up to, any of your ELR series or copies of it, scripts or copies of it to this form, yeah. It would obviously be going to charity. I probably have some, and it's a crime that I did sell a lot, not sell a lot of them. I could have filled my house with scripts, but at the time they just are paper, as opposed to the ones that I'm about to show you. So, do the crew? So the crew. Okay, Teresa, do you and the crew get any residuals? So yes, the crew does not. The writers do, but it goes down to almost nothing. So you'll get a residual for this is for $8. Here's for the writing of this thing. Here's $87. So you do get it. The writers for writing their episodes, actors for being in the episode, and then the big money comes from people who have points in the show, which is generally not the writers. Did you borrow the food for the grocery store scenes? Great question. No, you can't return food. So they had to buy all that food. And at the end of that episode called Grandpa Steals, we all went onto the set and it was like you would hope life would be. Just walk in and just take anything you want. Yes, Karen, I'll tell more about Jazz Story in another, because we're going to run out of time. Okay. So, yes, the refrigerator was plugged in. The middle, let me scroll through here. Can you recall a certain joke in any of the episodes that the actors just kept laughing and had a hard time getting through the scene? Initially, at the table read, when I post photos of the table read, you'll see the cast, you'll see them really laughing. But by the time the show comes about, they have rehearsed that, so it starts to lose its oomph. And the big element about a joke is the element of surprise. On show night, when the live audience comes in and starts laughing, then it starts to help. I love the names for the cookies episode with Amy Aquino. Yes, Amy, I would love to have. Hello, Raina. You love the show in Australia. That is awesome. Let me just scroll closer to the end. Sorry, everybody, if I'm missing your question. The Holmes. Was the episode of Allie as a bully on the bus taped on the same road as the Holmes from Bewitched? I will have to find out where that was shot, because that was outside on location. Bobby, were there any storylines that we said we can't get away with that? Not really. I mean, Phil wanted to be very family friendly. The sculpture episode was pushing it. And that worked. Let me see. Is the residual for every time it airs? Yes. Every time it airs, there's a residual paid. But the amount goes back. It's in mathematical terms. It has an asymptotic relationship with zero. So it just gets smaller and smaller. But yes, absolutely every time. It's just that it becomes penny. All right, here, as promised. So here, now, everything is backwards when you show it on Instagram Live. That's why I posted the picture of Phil holding up his hat. Okay, so these are the notes. And again, it's backwards, so I apologize. So this is all of the characters in the show, and then this is each scene, okay? This is the script of, let's see. It's, okay, so it's their name is covered. Okay, so the episode, let me see if I'll show you a few more episodes. I'll show you one picture which will tell you, but let's go to that Patty section. Okay, so this is the wardrobe episode. You'll see this is the entire script. It's a yellow script. For those of you who follow, that means shoot day. Inside of each script is each character, and on those pages is a stapled Polaroid photo. So here's Patty's page from that episode. Okay, so here's another photo, again backwards, but that won't hurt you with the thing. Here's the photo that I posted a picture of, and I'll post some of these, so don't worry, everybody. So get rid of the reflection. Okay, so there's Patty, and there's another one of Patty, and here's another one. These are great. These are priceless because, and then even the wardrobe, they have to worry about what is the jewelry you're wearing. So there's Patty sticking her neck out so that they can take a picture of her. Here is Marie. Now, here. So there you go. These are Doris from that episode. Okay, Saved by Joy Fully. You are correct. When Robert moved into the apartment, so there is Brad Garrett. Again, and I'll keep showing you pictures, when I saved these from the garbage, I thought, how great would that be to have this from the Honeymooners or from I Love Lucy? Because at the time, it's just a lot of space, and they were going to throw it all into the dumpster. And so here, if I'd shown you this, do you know the name of the family that he moved into? Because that is the father. And there is the wife. Can you name that? Can you name those families? All right, here we go. So that is, and I will tell you, we're almost out of time. We have like 3 minutes left. That is, and then here is Ray, who's, Ray is very hard to tell because he dresses the same almost everything. Yes, Teresa, the Stipes, S-T-I-P-E-S. So the name of the episode is, and again, because it's backwards, it's going to be backwards. So the name of the episode is Moving Out. Moving Out. And there's the cast. Again, everything backwards. Let's take another look at the photos. So I'm just going to talk about these photos just for 1 second. When Wardrobe is doing that, here we go. Here's a great shot of Patty. So when Wardrobe is doing this, they have to quickly capture a photo of the cast member. They don't want to be disruptive. They have to fire off a flash. And when you're on a set, if you guys are ever on a movie set and you let off a flash, you have to say flashing. Because if you don't say flashing and you see a flash, the head gaffer, the electrician, is going to look around and say, "Uh-oh, we just blew a bulb," not realizing that somebody took a flash photo. So these are all photos taken by, let me see if I have more Doris Roberts pictures here. Okay, so there's a close-up of Doris. And a lot of times, the wardrobe person doesn't want to bother the actor. So that's why in a lot of these photos, the actor is seemingly not paying attention because they might be listening to notes. They might be doing something. So the wardrobe person is not trying to take a great picture. They're just trying to capture the character's clothes. So a lot of times these photos are very candid. So there's Frank, there's Marie sitting at the table that is at Phil Rosenthal's house. We've done a few interviews from there. But this will get into a description. Let me show one last photo. There's Brad Garrett. Let's see. Here's another one of Brad, and there'll be just Brad's clothes. Sorry. And, of course, there's Madeline Sweeten. And I'm not going to, the next time, so give me thumbs up, give me some hearts if you want me to do this every time I don't have a guest. I will dig through one of these episodes and show you the wardrobe department's inside photographs. So that's why you'll see, and I'll try and dig them out as I can from my bunker of comedic stuff. And also, I just want to wish a happy birthday to Phil's son, Ben Rosenthal, who inspired the Angry Family episode, for those of you that like the Angry Family episode, and also was in Halloween Candy, etc. All right. Save your questions for next time. And I really enjoy visiting with you guys. Again, this is Tom Caldabiano. Everybody loves Raymond. 360. Until next week, keep those questions coming. I try and answer them as I can as we're going. So stack up your questions because they are great and unique questions. I really appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next week.